Hi everybody. So Friday afternoon, and this is a recording rather than a live session. Um, for some reason, Facebook seems to have fallen out with me. So I've been having a quick look to see if I can work out what's going on, and I can't make sense of it. So I've kind of popped a message in the help, and hopefully they'll be able to get back to me, and I will be back live next week. So for today, I'm going to do a recording. So I'm here to chat to you about a couple of things that have been going on in the studio. So this is my kind of regular Friday afternoon slot with, I guess in a way, it's insights from the studio, things I've learned this week, either in terms of materials, techniques, skills, something to do with my art practice, something to do with my mindset that might be useful for you guys too. Kind of lessons from the studio, really, in a way. So I want to talk a little bit about a couple of things that have cropped up for me for this week. And then I'm going to talk about studio news, which is one or two things that I've got coming up in the next few weeks, which you might be interested in. So the two things I think from my learnings this week, my insights are, one, I think, is the importance of going into the work in the right frame of mind, I think, and a kind of open, intuitive, creative, energetic frame of mind. That is something that's kind of come up for me this week. And the other thing, I think, is not to underestimate the value of outside expertise. And that's been a bit of a game changer for me, actually. That's been quite a significant moment this week, which is really good. So I'll talk a little bit about the first thing. So I'm in the middle of doing a commission for a friend. It's 3 paintings and fairly substantial pieces. And I'd said I'd get them ready by probably early May, something like that. So they're kind of well on the way. And they, I've been feeling okay with them. But this week, when I went into the studio to do some work on them, I thought, actually, I feel in the mood for some music. So I went back through, my playlists of things that I know that energize me and get me in the right frame of mind. And there's a song by, I think Sarah Bareilles, her name is, called Brave, which I think I posted actually already in the group. And it's just a kind of really uplifting, positive song that always kind of puts me in the right frame of mind. Some of the words are really great, when she talks about, saying what you want to say, speaking out and kind of being free to speak out, and the impact that other people, or experiences might have had on us sometimes, as far as not feeling free or open to be able to speak out. So I felt like a really useful, timely, and positive experience. And I think it really fed through into the work, because certainly in the way in which I found myself kind of painting and expressing myself, I felt, I don't know, did I feel freer? It's difficult to say, kind of like there was a definite, oh yeah, I felt freer. But I mean, the resulting work I'm really pleased with. It feels really expressive. It feels like I'm saying something that has been wanting to be said for a while. It kind of feels open and expansive. So it's really good. So I suppose my bit of learning really that I'm sharing with you, in the hope that it will be helpful for other artists who, maybe if you have difficulty getting started, perhaps, or if you notice sometimes that you've got quite a strong inner voice that is giving you a negative message, then actually putting on some really positive, uplifting music. And I didn't just play it, I was also dancing around the studio and singing along to it and stuff like that. And I think that helps as well. Helps me anyway, because it helps me loosen up a bit. Because I work fairly big, or I'm working quite big at the moment. And I've got my canvases, and the panels and things are actually on a wall. So they're, horizontal, vertical in front of me, so I'm kind of moving my arms and like this. And so it's quite a physical experience. So I think, that act of dancing around the studio and moving actually kind of loosens me up, a bit like you would, you wouldn't go and do a run without doing some stretching first. And I think in a way, this is kind of similar. The analogy kind of works, which is I'm kind of limbering up and getting ready to get creative, really. So that feels good. That does feel good. So that was my kind of thinking on that. And in fact, if anybody wants to share some of the songs that they listen to, so we could kind of create a fun playlist of uplifting music that's great to kind of start before you start painting, that'd be really good. So the other thing is something that I've been thinking of doing for a while. So I'm part of a business group run by a marketing expert called Sarah Price. Now, I used to work in sales and marketing, worked in sales and marketing for probably about 15, nearly 20 years, but I've been a therapist for the last 20 years. So even though I've been very much involved in running my own business and, doing marketing of my own business to other therapists, it's quite different, because the way in which you do that, because of the, I guess, because of the guidelines really associated with being a therapist. I mean, there's some things that you just don't do. So I feel like I've been a bit out of it for a while. So I connected up with Sarah's group probably about 6-8 months ago now. And I've been kind of watching what she's doing and listening to her podcast and thinking, this looks really good. You know, she's really got some great ideas. Anyway, I had what's called a power hour with her yesterday. My goodness me, it was so helpful. And if she was able to look at my business, look at some of the things that I'm doing, and just say, actually, Lynn, I think this, and this are some of the things you need to pay attention to. And I was just like, yeah, of course. Like, why wasn't I seeing that? But I think, you know, the lesson in all of this is that actually when we're in the middle of something, you know, whether it's in the middle of trying to solve a business problem, whether it's in the middle of trying to get through something in terms of our mindset, whether it's in the middle of trying to resolve a question in our painting, you know, because we're in it, it's quite difficult sometimes to kind of step back and take that objective view. And I think because she was able to just, you know, in an hour, have, you know, ask me some fairly kind of pertinent and really useful questions, and she was able to get, excuse me, get kind of an insight into what it was that I was trying to do. And she was able to say, you know, fairly quickly and easily, actually, I think some of these are things that you need to be looking at. And she was right on the nose with them, you know, absolutely right on the nose with them. And I just thought, you know, really, Lynn, don't underestimate the value of outside expertise, because it's so helpful just to get another person's view, you know, because they're not restricted, they're not holding on to the beliefs, I think, and the ideas that you might have about what's possible and what's not possible. You know, she was just able to say to me, well, I think it's this. And I just thought, actually, yes, you're right, you know, and I'm holding myself back in that area because of this. So, yes, it was great. So, first job on my agenda is to do some research, actually, because that's one of the things that came out of our conversation, was that I don't know enough, I don't think, about what artists like you guys who are listening to this are looking for. I need to get a closer understanding of that. Like, what are the things that are keeping you awake at night? What are the things that you're really struggling with in terms of your art, or maybe your art business, or maybe your art mindset? You know, where do you really need my help? Because I think I've got an idea about it, but I think I'd like to get a much better idea about it. And I think I'm going to get a better idea about it by sitting down with a few people, if you're willing to take part, for about half an hour to 40 minutes and having a good long chat with you, and getting a better understanding of that. So I'm going to be posting something actually in the group, probably after I've put this live up, actually, asking if people are willing to take part in that research. And as a thank you, I'll be either offering a free download of my book, you know, Creative Connections, or if you've already got a copy of that, because some people might already have a copy of that, it'll be a free print instead. So, yeah, so that's the first thing on my agenda. Yeah, and I feel I just felt so much clearer. You know, there was real clarity in the conversation that came out of that. So that was great, I think. So it's good, really good, very, very valuable. So that's it, I think, in terms of my 2 bits of, you know, insights for this week. You know, I think the 2 things, if I was to summarize them, are you know, limbering up, doing your stretching and limbering up before you get engaged in anything creative is a really useful thing to do, and thinking about it a bit like before you go running. And the second thing is, you know, the clarity that somebody outside of your business can bring, whether it, or even not even business, actually, the clarity that somebody outside of what you're doing can bring is really not to be underestimated. That was brilliant. So what else is coming up? Well, as I said, I'm going to be doing the research, and there will be something posted on that very soon. I'm also got a couple of other things coming up. I've got an open studio at the end of April, and I will be popping that on my website probably in the next day or so. And I'm just fiddling with my phone now to get the date for people, because actually I didn't write it down on the paper. But I think the date at the end of April is, she says, looking. Yeah, it's the it's 29th. So Saturday, the 29th of April, 10:30 till 3:30, here at my studio at my home. And I will have a kind of curated selection of kind of work, some probably from the most recent paintings that I've been doing, and maybe some from a little while back as well, to just kind of keep a kind of a flow really through, showing, you know, some of the older work, maybe how it's progressed through to some of the most recent stuff. But then, you know, I've got quite a lot of new paintings that I took down to Bath, including the big triptych firebrand, which people haven't seen actually. So I'm quite excited to have those available on show, and hopefully people will come and have a look. and have a chat. It's very informal, you know, kind of drop into the studio for, you know, 10, 15 minutes, half an hour, have a look at what I'm up to, have a bit of a conversation about the art. Maybe there'll be something that catches your eye, you know, that you're looking for. Or, you know, those of you who are perhaps serious art collectors, you know, you might be something there may be something you've had your eye on for a while, or you've been thinking about buying a piece of my work, you know, well, do come and talk to you about that, and we could have a conversation and, you know, see what there might be that might suit you. So that's that. And the final thing is I have been pulling together my ideas about this in-person, really, summer workshop that I'm going to be running now. It's going to be in September. So it's the second week of September on the Wednesday, Thursday and Friday in the second week of September. And the idea behind it is it's going to be a kind of push your art to the next level workshop. It's very exploratory, kind of very expressive. So if you've been feeling a little bit like, you know, you've reached a bit of a plateau and you're not sure where to take your work next, but you're looking for some new ideas and some new energy and something to kind of push you a little bit further, then this workshop could be the one that's for you. What we'll be doing is, you know, making our own tools, making some of even our own, maybe even making some of our own materials, exploring surfaces, going out into the environment and seeing how that might influence and impact on the work, maybe even some movement. And just exploring different ways, really, to kind of get the energy flowing and get your creativity flowing in new ways. You know, so know that phrase like, what if I were to do this? We'll be spending a lot of time doing that. You know, what if I was to do that? So with me supporting you and kind of alongside you, you know, offering encouragement, making suggestions, and also creating a series, I think, of exploratory exercises and things to do to help you begin to develop some of your own personal ways of using materials, using tools, and thinking about how to incorporate that into your work. So yeah, so it's an exciting, exploratory, push your work to the next level workshop. I still haven't come up with a title, but I'm working on it. So there you go. So that's going to be, like I say, that's from the second week of September. So look out for that. That will be on my website, hopefully by the end of this weekend, actually. And there will be an early bird offer where there'll be significant difference in the price. Because actually I thought, for this, I'd like to know who's coming. So I'm going to make it, there's a big incentive really to sign up early. And I think that's probably me. So like I say, this is a recorded session, but hopefully I'll be back on live next Friday. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. Looks like there's a good weather forecast, and as Brits do like to talk about the weather, as some of my American fellow artists know. And hopefully we'll see you all soon. Take care. Have a great weekend, whatever it is that you're doing, and I'll see you all next week. Okay, cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.